the problem with Ronda in wrestling is that you can't like put her in developmental and have her wrestle on these shows in front of 200 people for 2 years like everybody else and learn, because there's going to be that microscope on her. So she's going to have to, and plus the money is in seeing her at WrestleMania. So it's like she's really been put in a very difficult position. She has no time to learn. I mean, even Shayna, wrestled on the independents for a year or two, and then got signed. And even then, and she overachieved. So it's like it's going to be tough. I mean, she's got the name recognition, and she's a great athlete, which always helps. As a talker, if it was me, I would put her with Paul Heyman so she doesn't have to worry about the talking, and let Paul Heyman talk to get her over, because Paul will know how to get her over. So that would be my thing. If they just put her out there, one of the big things there is you got to cut those long promos, and that's a very difficult task to do. So yeah, I mean, she's got to if she doesn't greatly overachieve, people are going to be just ripping on her. It's a real she's been put in a bad position, but she's making a lot of money. So Floyd Mayweather was brought in, and they thought he was going to be a total babyface. And about 3 or 4 weeks in, I think it was after they did a show in Vegas, and like when he's booed in his own hometown, all of a sudden it's like, well, God, if we can't get him cheered in Las Vegas, what happens when we go everywhere else? So they flipped the switch on him and made him into a heel, and it worked out actually really well. So with Ronda, they'll have to adjust to the fans. I don't know what the fans. She's going to be out on in Vegas on Sunday, and we'll see how the fans react. I'm not sure what it'll be. I mean, you look at the internet and you think it's going to be negative, but I mean, it was the same way. I mean, like before that, her very first UFC in Anaheim. I mean, you would read stuff like, "Oh, people are going to walk out of the building before after Dan Henderson's fight, and they're going to boo her, and nobody wants to see women's MMA." And she came out and she was like a rock star. So
yes, she was.
Until you can't read social media and get a take, and nobody knows. I mean, I've talked to some of the people in WWE, and it's like, just got to wait to see how the fans react and then adjust from there. I mean, the idea is clearly for her to be a babyface to start and work with Stephanie McMahon, but you don't know how the crowd's going to react. But yeah, I mean, booking her is tricky. I mean, I think that Lesnar, they've done a pretty good job with. So I think that that's kind of the prototype is Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, who didn't really sell much. I mean, I heard that Ronda pretty much mentally understands the selling and isn't bad at it, but it's not necessarily like that really isn't something she should be doing, at least for the first year or so. So it's tricky, and then you've got the women who are interesting. You're going to have some who want to see her do well because they see the idea that if Ronda does well, just they'll all do well. I mean, just like whether it's Kat Zingano or Cyborg or any of these women, you take Ronda out of the picture and they're all much lesser stars. She brought the whole Misha Tate more than anyone. She made, her being there made them all stars. And I think that some of the women there know that, and some of the women there, I think that they see it as like, we worked so hard to get here and she's walking in, and they may be resentful. So it's kind of, and so it's kind of an interesting thing. When I first came across Ronda, which was long before she became famous, when she was just starting with Strikeforce, and I did a story on her way back when, and we did some audio shows and things like that. And I thought she was funny, hilarious, very interesting to talk to. And I thought originally, if this woman can fight, she's going to be a superstar,
right?
Because she'd only had 3 or 4 fights at the time. And she could fight, and she became a much bigger star than anyone could have ever expected, because no woman had ever been a star at that level. But I thought that after the loss to Holly Holm, I thought that she changed greatly, and I never saw that. When I see her doing media and other things, I haven't seen that Ronda back. It's almost like that loss changed her. I think that original Ronda going into pro wrestling probably would have done really, really well. I'm just not sure about I'm not sure about this Ronda.